today, and the meeting is being recorded. I will go over that in a moment. So as I was saying, As I was saying, it's great to be here with you. And if you don't know who I am your host today. I have the privilege to be your host. My name is Maria, and I am the head of programs at FinTech Cadence. As you just realized, the session is being recorded. So if you don't want to say anything that you don't want to be recorded, just please don't. You can always type questions, anything on the chat. If you are most likely familiar with Zoom, you can use the chat function to ask any questions that you have. But other than that, feel free to ask any questions. I will have a Q&A session at the end of the program, but if you're like me, that like just to ask questions whenever, because then you will forget, feel free to jump in and ask your question. You can use the raise your hand function. You can ask your questions, whatever you prefer. Well, I am your host, but here with me is, I see Layal, she's our executive director, and as well, here is my colleague Geraldine, she's our director of operations. So without any further ado, let's dive in. Also about the question, sorry, feel free to, well, obviously ask your questions in English. If you want as well, you can ask your questions in French, even though the session will run in English. So these are the items that we are going to go through today's info session. We'll talk a bit about FinTech Cadence, again, in case you are not familiar with our organization and our mission. Of course, the reason why we are here today, Ascension, we will go over the selection process, program overview, commitment, and the full purpose of this session today is that you have all of the information you need to assess if this is the right program for you, where you are right now on your journey. So FinTech Cadence, we are on a mission of advancing the financial system to serve all Canadians for the better, where we are a private and public-backed organization that is all over Canada, even though most of the team, we are here in Montreal. We have as well a colleague in Calgary. We have offices as well in Toronto and Calgary. And we are pan-Canadian. Everything that we do is to serve the FinTech ecosystem and FinTech founders all over Canada. We serve the financial ecosystem and our mission, as I mentioned before, through education, through support, and through collaboration. And I will explain through our programs how we do it. We have a certificate program that we run every year during the winter months from January to May. And it is a program which purpose is to teach the foundations of FinTech, whereas it is AI, payments, financial health. It's a very comprehensive program. So if you're interested in learning more, all of the information is in our website. It's open to just anybody that wants to learn more about the FinTech ecosystem, especially here in Canada. And we have had quite a lot of founders coming from Ascension as well that joined. Ascension, that not going to explain it now because that will be the rest of our presentation. FinTech Challenge, which is, if you will, a kind of a program that tackles challenges that are present in the industry. So for example, last year we had challenges coming from Payments Canada, from Autorité des Marchés Financiers, here from Quebec, and an InsurTech that is called Emma, that was actually as well FinTech and Ascension alumni. So that's how we collaborate. We collaborate with financial institutions to tackle any challenges in the industry, and we do it through our FinTech Challenge. So FinTech Challenge is it's our collaboration pillar. certificate is our education pillar, and then Ascension, IFH, and the Hub are it's the way how we support fintech founders. IFH Lab, it's an incubation program that takes place the first part of the year, and it's focused on supporting those founders that aim to support the financial health of Canadians. And our hub, which is on-demand services to founders, any founder that is a fintech founder in Canada, from I have an idea up to pre-series A. We have resources, network opportunities, discounts on events. We have service providers, just anything for founders to thrive in the fintech ecosystem. So that we have about 300 startups that are already affiliated to our hub. If you're interested in learning more, the information is on the website. You just need to be in Canada and be an early stage fintech founder, and then you can use all of our services. And I will take this opportunity, as I'm mentioning our portfolio of programs, that we don't charge anything for our programs, and we don't take any equity on exchange of supporting our fintech founders. So all of that, including Ascension program, it's a program free of cost, and we don't take any equity. And without any further ado, first, our events. I had forgotten about that. We have events to boost the fintech ecosystem all over Canada. We have our Fintech Drinks event where we bring experts, top caliber experts in the fintech industry to talk about pressing challenges, pressing topics on the fintech ecosystem. We run those events all over Canada, from Montreal, Halifax, Calgary, Toronto, main cities in Canada. And we as well bring exposure to our fintech founders in those events. And we have a more lighter version of Fintech Drinks, which is called Fintech Social. If you happen to be in Montreal, today we have Fintech Social here in Montreal, which is just an event where you will meet like-minded events, fintech founders, capital providers, just people in the fintech and financial industries. And tomorrow we will have Fintech Social in Toronto. So I know that a lot of folks here are in Toronto or in Montreal, because I saw the registration database. So yeah, you're more than welcome to attend. We would love to have you there. And now for real, without any further ado, what is Ascension? So this program is all about really supporting you. Sorry, I have a question here. When are we launching Fintech Social in Vancouver? That is a great question. That is a great question. I wish I had a concrete answer to give to you. I don't, unfortunately. We started expanding really this year. Before this year, all of our fintech events were here in Montreal. This year, we started going to Halifax, Calgary, but we hope to be in Vancouver very soon. We know that the fintech scene is amazing, thriving in Vancouver, and we don't want to miss the chance to connect with fintech founders in Vancouver, so hopefully very soon. As I was saying, Fintech Ascension program is a 11-week program that the main purpose of it is to give you all of the tools, all of the knowledge, all of the network that you need to successfully raise funds. And the reason why we conceived this program, to give you some of context for you here, 2 years ago and before, Ascension was kind of more agnostic, if you will, not in industry, of course, we are fintech, but it was a more generalist incubation program, where our mission was to scale fintech founders from point A to point B. However, we realized that there was this gap where there were amazing founders already with great teams, with tech background, business background, already with MVP, some traction, but that didn't really know how to raise funds, that there's a gap. It's very, very challenging right now to raise funds. Some of the stats that we have seen is that less than 10% of founders that intend to raise funds, even though they are already great startups with a lot of potential, fail to do this. And this is because there's a way to do it. There's a process, there are best practices, and it's a challenging landscape right now to raise funds. As you know, 2023 was quite challenging, and even before that was not as challenging. Only really founders that have the right tools and network succeed in this endeavor. So that's what the Ascension program is all about, to help you successfully raise funds by giving you the right tools to do so. So that is what we are. And how do we achieve this? We achieve this through curated workshops. We have a lot of one-on-one mentorships throughout the program. We have fireside chats with capital providers, fintech arms in banks, regulators, founders that have already been there, done that. We have a very well curated pool of experts that we have developed over the years, and that is the main core of our program, and how we aim to build strong startups that can achieve their fundraising milestones as they go. Ascension in numbers. We are very, very proud to share these numbers with you. So far, we have had 53 startups in our programs. You can, in our website, under Ascension, we have our founders that have already been part of this journey. We have startups that you may have heard from, such as Emma, Aquantix, Chexi, Cuber, Wallow, startups that have been part of Ascension, and that we're very proud to call them Ascension alumni. So far, our startups have raised 18 million, and we have as well involved plus 20 capital providers in our programs, which is something that we are as well very proud of. However, we want to keep involving as many angel investors and capital providers overall, family offices, venture capitalists, as much as possible from Canada and as well the US. And we have had 100, yes, sorry. I don't know who intended to ask a question, but feel free to ask now. Or you can put your question in the chat. I am going to check the chat now. Okay. Okay. If there's not a question, I'm glad to keep going the presentation. And if you have a question after, you can just raise your hand whenever or ask a question. And as I was saying, we have 100 experts that have been part of Ascension. As I mentioned, top caliber experts from capital providers, from regulations in finance, from financial institutions as well. Our selection process, our selection criteria, you can see it there. So I'm not going to go over all of the selection criteria one after the other one, but overall, the really important thing is that you already have a comprehensive MVP, or that you have already had some traction ideally, that you have a team where you have a tech member, of course, to have that commitment that at least one of the co-founders is full-time, because these are one-on-one requirements that you will need to raise funds anyways. And as well, that you are aiming, I should have highlighted this, but I will highlight it out loud verbally. Ideally, you should be aiming to raise funds this year. We are looking for startups that are ready to raise funds, that you already have a great team, you already have a functional MVP or ideally traction, and that you are ready to raise funds. And on the bottom, as you can see there, that have not raised more than 1 million Canadian. And the reason why we have this limitation is because we want the program to be as much valuable as possible for all of you. So if you have already raised that kind of money, non-dilutive through dilutive funding, it's possible that you already have a lot of experience and you don't necessarily are a fit for this program. Also keep in mind that these are not, apart from that you should raise within a year and that you should have an MVP. The requirements, we assess them case by case. So if there's anything that for any reason you don't fulfill, feel free to reach out. We are more than glad to assess case by case. I know that there are so many different circumstances that you can have. So just feel free to reach out, and as mentioned, we assess case by case. Our selection process is on the website, but just to bring a reminder here, we have the application deadline, August 15. So please know that as the ultimate application deadline. We don't take deadlines after that date, because after it goes selection process that we cannot delay because it involves other stakeholders outside of FinTech Cadence. After, we will have a tech assessment interview from which we'll invite tech experts that are part of our network. And the reason why we have this tech assessment is because we want to make sure that the startups that we select into the process are feasible from a technical standpoint, that are strong from a technical standpoint, and that it makes sense. That's why we invite experts on those fields, because it may be outside of our scope of expertise. And then we'll have business interviews, of course, to evaluate what's the potential of your startup. If it's a startup that is appealing for dilutive fundraising. So those are usually conducted by myself and some other members, as my colleague Geraldine here and Layal from our team. And the cohort selection will happen September 6th, and the program will start September 16th. So how do we do this? Just to give you a bit of an idea of, you already know that the program is 11 weeks long, that it is online, but what does the program entail? So we have a lot of one-on-one mentor sessions. And this is one of the reasons we have been asked, why do you only select 6 to 8 founders? And the reason why is because the program is very tailored. We want to sit down with you to assess where you are, what is the best fundraising strategy for yourself, who is the best stakeholder in the industry that we can put you in contact with, and that takes a lot of dedication to each founder, and that's the reason why we select very few startups, because it's a very tailored program to help you with your specific needs, with your specific interest, to get you in front of, to equip you first and get you in front of those capital providers that align with your stage, with your vertical, and all of that. So we have as well, apart from those created mentors, we have obviously workshops that are super relevant to where you are right now. We will have a 90-day goal setting framework, which is how we assess where you are and how can we support you moving further in the program. And just all of these resources that you see here, we have pitch prep for you to refine your pitch prep. We have fireside chats. We have access to the hub that I will go in a moment, and we'll have a showcase that I will explain at the wrap up of this session. Fintech hub resources. So as I mentioned before, part of our support to founders, we have a Fintech hub service, on-demand services, where we support all Fintech founders that want to be part of our community for no cost. And as Ascension founders, you will have access to those resources, which include software credits from relevant softwares for fintech startups such as IBM, Amazon, Plate, discounts of events and conferences that you may be familiar with, such as Payments Canada, Fintech Forum, Fintech Summit, all of that. And you will be part of the Fintech Community Slack channel, which is a great resource to meet other like-minded founders. If you're looking for collaborators in your team, if you're looking for anything that our community can help you with, it's a great way to connect. This is the journey, very high level, of course. Once we start the program, we will give you a comprehensive booklet with all of the sessions, the times. We try to have everything in advance as possible, but this is just a very high level sketch of what the program looks like. So as mentioned, everything in the program is curated with the only objective that you are equipped and well connected to fundraise. So the sessions that you can see there, financial overview, what are the financial documents that you need to show and have in place for when you are raising funds, what is the marketing and production that you need to put in front of capital providers, what is that you need in your data room, how to better organize your data room, how to reach out to capital providers. So we'll go over all of that from September 17 until November 25th, when we have the exit interviews. Any questions about, I will let you digest for a few seconds the participants' journey. Is there any questions about the curriculum or about the tools that are part of Ascension? Feel free to raise your hand. Feel free to ask in the chat. Okay. And also, just for you to know, you don't, maybe too late to say this, but you don't need to take any notes. This recording, I will send it to you after. So you will have these slides that I'm presenting. And on top of that, you will have this recording if you want to revisit it after.
What did you say?
Thank you, Reza. Great services, and they are all free. Thank you. My question is how FinTech Cadence makes money. What is our revenue model? So to tell you about FinTech Cadence, as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, Reza, we are private and public backed organization. We receive funds from the government of Quebec. We have sponsors such as TD Bank, Scotiabank, and that is how we support ourselves. It is a very frequent question that we get asked. And if you are interested in knowing more about our partners and collaborators, we have them all in our website. The commitment, the fun part of this talk, we are very cognizant that you have many things as a founder. You have many hats. You are managing a team. You are doing probably doing much more than that. You have your family, so we don't want the program to be a burden for you, but we wanted to give you the tools that you need in a very crisp way that is practical and that it is not a burden again, but a complement to what you're doing. So all of our workshops take place on weekdays, of course, usually 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. We may have some fireside chats at noon, but everything you will know in advance, ideally. Every week, there will be max one mandatory workshop, and workshops last 1 hour, max 1 hour and a half. Every week, you will have office hours with experts in all of those aspects that I mentioned before, finance or marketing, traction, stakeholder management. So you will have one-on-ones, ideally every week, with experts or as well with us, the FinTech Cadence team, where we'll assess where you are and how can we support you through your journey. And each week, we will, so to summarize this, between the workshops, between the one-on-one sessions that you will have with us, the FC team, or with external experts, the commitment is 3 to 4 hours every week, no more than that, because again, we want it to be a complement and not a burden to what you are already doing. The program, as you saw in our journey map, finishes with a showcase. The showcase is ideally throughout the program, you build your data room or you organize it. Hopefully you're already working on it if you are aiming to raise funds within this year. But through the program, so as I was mentioning, you will learn how to put your data room together. You will refine your pitch. You will have all these great tools. And at the end of the program, we will match you with capital providers. Capital providers, again, I mean venture capitalists, family office, angel investors, and we will match you on mutual interest. So, of course, capital providers that you're interested in meeting and the capital providers that are interested in meeting you. So mutual interest, and we put together those meetings where you will meet with them after you have all learned how this works, and you have all of the tools for these meetings to be successful and to start those relations with venture capital. As you can see, I put in red, no commitment for funding is required from capital providers, and I think this is important to mention just to set up expectations. Capital providers come to talk to you, to assess if there's a potential relation that you can establish, but by any means, capital providers that come to our showcase that we organize at the end of the year are constrained to fund in any startup of the program. That's important to keep in mind. And that will happen in November 18 to November 21st. It will be a series of 3 days in which you will meet these venture capital representatives. I have another question here. Pierluigi, you asked if the workshops and sessions are in person or web-based. This is a great question. Sorry if I didn't mention it before. Everything that we do is online in this program because the idea is to have founders all over Canada that are at the right moment to get invested. We work with venture capital, capital providers overall from all over Canada. So it's not going to be only from here, Quebec or Ontario, but from all over Canada, and as such, we want to have founders all over Canada. So all of the sessions will be online through Zoom, and yeah, that's it as the program is right now. Willie, you ask, is it good timing if we are applying the Impulsion program and we have capital raised with private investors? It's not letting me see, but we want to go to a second round. Willie, can you elaborate about the Impulsion program, and if you want to explain your question a bit more?
I think your partner just said that we should have a one-on-one chat later on to discuss a little bit more about that.
Okay, amazing. I think that's that's a great idea. I am not necessarily familiar with the Impulsion program, or maybe I am, but I want to make sure if we are on the same page here. But yeah, I will connect with you after and we can discuss. As mentioned, none of the requirements are set on stone. We take case by case to evaluate if the program is a great fit for founders. More questions? Do we know? Reza, you mentioned 18.3 million raised through 53 companies. Do we know out of how many companies in your cohorts? I have to say that I don't have that exact information right now, but I'll be glad to share with you. Of course, it's an interesting question, and we do have those numbers. I just don't have them on top of my head. And just to show you a bit, a summary of what we had last year. These were the capital providers that came last year. You may be familiar with many of these names, being Holt Exchange and Lush Capital, the most prominent fintech-based venture capital firms in Canada. We had as well Mars, Innovia Capital, which is one of the biggest early seed stage fintech founders here in Canada, as well as Panache, Plug and Play, that is expanding. And this year we aim to have more. We aim to have as well more diversity in angel investors and family offices. So next steps, there will be a Q&A if you have more questions, but just next steps before wrapping up. A follow-up email. You will receive a follow-up email with this presentation. I know it's a lot of information. I have been speaking nonstop for 40 minutes, so you will have this presentation. All of the information is on the website as well, and you will receive the recording. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Willie, for your specific question, please reach out to me. If you have any other questions here that you may want to ask one-on-one instead of in the Q&A later, feel free. As you know, you can apply through F6S. If you have any questions as well about the questions, if there's anything in particular, any question that is not clear to you or that you may not want to disclose that information, whatever, as well, please reach out and apply before August 15 because we won't receive applications after that day. Thank you so much for hearing me for these past 40 minutes. And yeah, any questions? Thank you, Earl. Thank you so much for your kind comments. Okay, I think it seems like all of the questions were asked during the presentation. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. This will be sent to you again. Yeah, looking forward to receive your applications, looking forward to receive your questions. We know that the fundraising environment is very hard and that in many cases, funding is the way for startups to scale up, to invest in technology, invest in teams. And we understand how fundamental it is in any of your journeys. So we are more than glad and excited to work with you. And yeah, have a great rest of your day and look forward to speaking with you very soon. Thank you.